Day 1. The son of a has a piece of spinach or greens or something stuck in his teeth, and it's about to drive me insane. I've been staring at it for the last 20 minutes of this god-awful tenants association meeting. It's not like I can look away. It's Google Meets, and his face is framed right there in the top right corner, second from the end. Google needs to get their act together and make some sort of filter for meetings that take place after lunch. No one should have to look at in people's teeth for this long.
Tom, did you hear that?
A voice calls out from my laptop speakers. What? Sorry? I respond. I was distracted.
Yes, well, we cannot afford distractions at a time like this.
Courtney Hubbard says, her face pinched and serious as she stares out at me from her little box in the top left corner. Number 1 spot for our number 1 Tenants Association president. That's sarcasm. Courtney can eat a bag of for all I care.
As chair of the maintenance committee, you, Tom, are responsible for making sure all entries and exits are completely secure.
Courtney says.
We cannot afford for a resident or family member to accidentally leave the complex and trigger some sort of response from the authorities. Now, next item.
I'm sorry, I interrupt. But I'm only the maintenance committee chair because you assigned that to me when Jean left on vacation last week. I didn't volunteer for this, and I don't want the job, especially after all this shit has gone down. Courtney's face pinches even further. I'm afraid it'll implode in on itself if she scrunches her nose even a fraction of a millimeter more.
Tom, we all have to do our part during these trying times.
Courtney says.
It wouldn't be fair to... Fair? The feds have our buildings cordoned off without our consent.
Mike Stover shouts, his square completely covered by the tip of his index finger as he jabs it at his camera.
This is tyranny. That may be a little much, Mike.
Denise Wilmington says.
I don't know if it quite fits tyranny.
Yeah, the police are just trying to look out for the citizens in these complexes.
Marco McKeon says.
You all heard what happened in the Pendleton complex, right?
Yes, Marco, we have all heard the rumors. And let me say they are simply silly rumors.
Courtney says.
The authorities have informed us that there is a meningitis outbreak in the area, and they are being extra cautious. That's why we are having this meeting, so we can...
Meningitis? That ain't what happened. I heard that 3 little kids went all batshit and killed their grandma.
Marco continues.
I heard they pounced on her and bit her to death. 3 little kids. They fucking bit their grandma to death, man. That's some crazy shit.
There's silence as everyone waits for either Marco to keep telling us what we've already heard, or for Courtney to finally snap.
May I ask what we are to do about food?
Some old guy asks. I don't know his name. I've seen him around, but we usually just smile and nod. And, of course, his square on the screen doesn't have his actual name, just his email address, which is apparently goodpops2596@hotmail.com. Hotmail.com, because it's 1998.
An excellent question, Mr. Foreman.
Courtney says. I guess that answers that mystery.
We've been told that food and supplies will be provided each morning at 6:30 a.m.
Courtney continues.
There will be enough each day for every resident to make 3 full meals, plus some snacks for those that need extra.
The look of disdain on her face when she says, need extra, is so obvious that I have to cover my mouth as I smirk. Courtney is rail thin and wears nothing but athletic wear every place she goes. I made a crack about her needing a sandwich once, and she railed at me in the apartment complex lobby for a full 8 minutes on the obesity crisis in America. Courtney has food control issues. Shit, Courtney just has control issues. I haven't found a subject or situation that she hasn't insinuated herself into. She once proposed that all wall paint colors chosen by residents must match their furniture exactly. I shit you not. She actually wanted to put together a matching decor committee or some shit where they could enter apartments at will to make sure the aesthetic was appropriate. Her words.
If you have medication needs, then please fill out the form I put in the chat.
Courtney says.
The authorities have said they will coordinate with pharmacies for timely refills and delivery of all residents' medication needs. What about TB?
Miss Grumman asks.
I have IBS.
Bathroom tissue is considered supplies and will be part of the morning deliveries.
Courtney says.
I hope so,
Miss Grumman says.
because I have IBS.
Yes, Miss Grumman, we know.
Courtney says.
Now, if we can move on, the authorities have asked us to conduct a door-to-door wellness check on all residents. I am asking for volunteers from each floor so we can do this as efficiently as possible.
Silence again.
Tom,
Courtney asks. What? I reply.
how about you form a group of 4 or 5 residents and conduct the door-to-door wellness checks?
I look at the dozens of names listed in the meeting. I'm already securing entries and exits, I say. Wouldn't it make sense to have someone else do that?
Since you're already going to be on each floor checking the entries and exits, then wouldn't it be appropriate that you also go door to door and check on your fellow residents?
Courtney shoots back at me in one single breath. No, I reply flatly.
I'm sorry?
She replies. No, it wouldn't be appropriate, I say. What would be appropriate is for one of the other residents to handle that shit. I should focus on entries and exits and make sure they are secure. That would be appropriate for me. Why not have Mike do it?
What? No way there, Hoss.
Mike says.
I'm not leaving my apartment. Not if there are grandma-eating little shits running around. Biting.
Marco says.
I don't know if they ate her.
Meningitis.
Courtney insists.
There are no children biting or eating their grandmas. Please stop with the wild accusations and rumors.
I wasn't accusing no one.
Marco says.
Just saying what I heard, man.
Which is a rumor.
Courtney says.
I asked for those to cease as well. Can we all agree to that at least? No baseless rumors?
I can conduct the door-to-door wellness checks.
Mr. Foreman says.
I'm retired police. Thanks for your service.
Marco says then under his breath.
Narc. That's enough of that, Marco.
Courtney snaps.
Did they deliver food and supplies this morning?
A young woman asks. She keeps looking down and talking to someone, so my guess is she has a kid or two of her own. I don't have kids. I have a turtle named Boris.
I'm sorry, miss.
Courtney asks.
I just moved in last week.
The young woman says.
I'm Melissa Holliday. Ah, yes, the young woman with twins.
Courtney says.
How old are they? 21 months.
Melissa says.
A boy and a girl.
Cool.
Marco says.
How do you tell them apart?
It's not hard.
Melissa says after a few seconds of pure silence from the entire group.
But the reason I'm asking is that I'm also out of baby food, and I was hoping there would be some in the delivery. Yes, we did have a delivery of food and supplies this morning.
Courtney says, sounding like she doesn't want to admit that.
I'll check the packing list to see if there is any baby food in the crates.
A few other parents pipe up about needing supplies for their kids. Then other residents begin to complain that they have special needs too. In seconds, the meeting is in chaos as dozens of little squares erupt into arguments and finger-pointing, especially Mike. I hate this place. Courtney's voice is drowned out by the rabble. She waves her hands to get everyone's attention, but no one gives a shit anymore about what she's saying.
Folks, please, folks!
Courtney shouts. The arguments just get worse. And that guy with the shit in his teeth is back, and it's pushing me over the edge.
Dude!
I yell.
Get some fucking floss!
He doesn't hear me.
People!
Courtney roars as all the voices go silent. I can see people's mouths still moving, but I can't hear a single voice. After a second or two, the residents start to notice, and soon everyone's mouths are closed and eyes are staring into their cameras.
I am sorry I had to use my administrative privilege and mute the meeting.
Courtney says, not sounding sorry at all.
But this agenda is very important. We need to get through this, and then perform our respective duties so we can maintain a semblance of normalcy while we navigate these trying times.
Huh? Marco asks in the chat. Shut up and listen, I respond. He gives a thumbs up emoji.
Once the food and supplies have been inventoried, I will then work out a distribution system.
Courtney says.
Either residents will be called down to the common room to pick up supplies, or We will organize a delivery team and distribute throughout the complex so that residents do not have to mingle. Remember, people, meningitis is highly contagious and very deadly.
All kinds of emojis erupt in the chat.
Now, if everyone can promise to be respectful of our time and our process, I will unmute the meeting,
Courtney says. She literally waits until everyone has given a thumbs up emoji in the chat.
Great.
Courtney says.
Continuing on. Exactly what type of meningitis are we dealing with?
Melissa, the young mom, asks.
I'm not sure.
Courtney replies, obviously annoyed at the interruption.
But that is not something we need to worry about. We'll leave that to the professionals. I am a professional,
Melissa says.
I'm an RN.
Courtney's face doesn't know what to do. I can easily see that her instinct is to try to one-up Melissa and reestablish her dominance. But I know, and most everyone else knows too, that Courtney married rich and divorced half as rich. But half rich is still rich enough. She now spends her time designing and selling stickers and t-shirts on Etsy. Hard to one-up a registered nurse when you spend your day making heart-filled word balloons for sparkly unicorns.
Well, that's a noble profession,
Courtney says.
But I believe you are on maternity leave, correct? I'm not sure what that has to do with my credentials or education.
Melissa says.
And no, I am not on maternity leave. I'm on disability leave due to nerve damage in my spinal column as a result of a very difficult and dangerous birth. I have limited mobility, but I can get by. You are disabled and have twins?
A woman asks.
You poor dear. I hope your husband helps out. My husband died 6 years ago in Afghanistan,
Melissa says. I almost laugh out loud at some of the puzzled looks on people's faces. Melissa smirks a little at the confusion.
IVF,
She says.
We had embryos frozen just in case. Oh, you poor dear.
The woman says again.
We should organize a childcare committee to help out all the parents.
Several residents agree with her, and soon the chat is filling with requests for help and offers to fill those requests.
People!
Courtney yells.
There is a process for new committees. We will organize according to that process.
No one is paying attention to her anymore. Once the parents took over the chat, Courtney lost her supremacy. I can see the rage building in her. She has a vein by her left temple that throbs when she's close to blowing up. I have witnessed it firsthand more than a few times. The meeting is again in chaos, and I'm loving it. Except for the asshole with shit in his teeth. I should probably learn his name, but his square is blank. People are talking over each other. The chat is scrolling so fast that I can't keep up. Courtney's vein is the size of a small balloon. Then we all shut the fuck up fast as gunshot after gunshot echoes through the complex. All I see are wide, scared eyes staring out of my screen. Courtney looks down and her eyes widen.
Oh dear,
She says.
I think that's all for now. Everyone will be contacted when the distribution of supplies has been scheduled. I request that residents remain inside their apartments for the time being, until we have more information about what is happening outside.
More gunshots ring out, followed by a loud boom. The squares on my screen start disappearing as people drop out of the meeting. Some squares stay, but are empty as those residents hurry away from their computers and over to their windows. Which is exactly what I do. I can hear Courtney behind me shouting from my laptop, but I ignore her like everyone else does as I pull my curtains aside and look out at the cityscape. A building across town is on fire. Thick, black smoke billows up from the top few floors, while orange flames lick at the middle floors. Another explosion echoes across the city, but I can't see where it's coming from. Courtney is yelling for people to listen to her so she can officially end the meeting. I walk back to my laptop and close it, shutting her up for a brief moment. I say brief because I know in about 10 seconds I'll get a text. In 9 seconds, my phone chimes. Please begin your duties, Tom. Courtney's text reads, in light of what is happening out there, a secure building is of the utmost importance. The utmost! I text back with 3 exclamation points. Please be professional and cooperative about this, Tom. she texts. That's what they taught me in door checking school, I text back. Always be professional and cooperative. Then I toss my phone on my desk as I leave the room I had turned into my office and go to my bedroom. I grab a pair of jeans and switch them out with the sweats I'm wearing. I slip on some shoes, go back and get my phone. Then I snag my keys from the hook by the door and step out of my apartment for the first time that day. Time to secure some entries and exits. Day 2.
Technically speaking,
The man who had shit in his teeth says as he stands in front of the supply distribution table Courtney has set up just outside the complex's common room.
distribution of food and supplies should be equitable based on apartment type and size, the same as dues paid.
Turns out Mr. Shit in his teeth is named Robert Lighton, and he's a retired lawyer. He's cleaned the shit out of his teeth, but I still don't like the guy. Did I mention he's a retired lawyer? Because he's mentioned it about 15 times since we all lined up this morning.
According to the covenants, residents are classified by apartment type and size,
The guy continues.
not by family size or resident makeup within the apartment. If you are paying Tier 3 dues, then you should be afforded Tier 3 distribution of supplies and food. You're just one dude, man.
Marco says from behind me.
Some apartments have like a mom and a dad and 3 kids. Irrelevant.
Lighton responds.
The complex's charter clearly states that the city is under martial law.
I say.
The covenants and charters and all that legal bullshit doesn't apply any longer. That is not legally correct.
Lighton says.
We are all bound by the covenants. It does state in Section 4, Paragraph 8, that in the event of an emergency, the Tenants Association Board will have authority to make decisions over the entire complex. And the Tenants Association Board is bound by and required to carry out the covenants to the letter. In accordance with Section 5, Paragraph 2, all complex resources shall be granted to residents per their apartment classification status and dues amount paid. In other words,
Melissa says, her twins sleeping soundly in the double stroller in front of her.
you believe a class system is what we need right now. It's not about what I believe, miss.
Lighton says.
It's about what has been established within a legal document that we all signed and agreed to abide by. You worried she's gonna take your formula and diapers, baby boy?
Marco says.
We all got our kinks, but taking food from the mouths of toddlers is a special kind of not cool, man. That is not what I am saying at all.
Lighton responds.
I have no need of diapers or formula or any child-related supplies. Those should be distributed amongst the parents as needed with the specific amounts determined per their apartment classification status and dues amount paid. So a class system.
Melissa says.
People, stop talking!
Courtney exclaims. She holds up an iPad Pro in a bejeweled case covered in rhinestones and crap.
Supplies will be delivered equally amongst residents per their needs. If you have 2 children, then you will be provided with the appropriate amount of food depending on your children's needs, which includes age as well as health status.
She waves the iPad at the line of residents.
This is per instructions from the authorities.
Courtney continues.
Those instructions supersede our covenants. I do not believe that is the case.
Lighton argues.
Unless there is a court order stating that we have to abide by outside instructions, our covenants are still in place. That is per state law. Yeah, but you ain't getting it, man. We're under martial law like Tom said.
Marco says.
And I've seen enough apocalypse movies to know that people ain't got shit for rights under martial law. Mr. McKeon, is it?
Lighton says.
I am more than certain that my law degree and license to practice in this state makes me better informed in these matters than your knowledge of crass entertainment. Don't judge, man.
Marco says and goes quiet. My phone buzzes, and I pull it out of my pocket.
Get up here quick.
Mike Stover texts me.
You gotta see this shit.
Can I get my supplies and go?
I ask Courtney as I hold up my phone.
I need to check on something. Is it related to the security of all entries and exits?
She asks.
You know it.
I lie.
Please let him through, people.
Courtney says.
Tom has official business to tend to. Sorry,
I say as I push through to the front of the line. Some guy Courtney has suckered into handing out the supply boxes grunts as he lifts a crate and hands it to me from across the table. I don't recognize the guy, but that doesn't mean much in a complex our size.
a quick reminder.
Courtney announces.
Be mindful of your rationing. Yes, we have been promised fresh supplies each morning, but let's not rely on that, please.
It's actually smart advice. I'm surprised it came out of Courtney's mouth.
The authorities have issued suggested rationing techniques depending on the makeup of your household.
Courtney says, and waves her iPad around again. Ah, she didn't think of it all. Never mind. I haul my crate of supplies to the elevator and head up to my apartment. After dropping off my supplies, I take the stairs down a floor to Mike's apartment.
You gotta see this.
Mike says as soon as he opens the door. He hurries down the hall to his living room, waving for me to follow. When I get to the living room, I pause and blink a couple of times at his coffee table.
Mike?
I ask.
What's going on here?
Huh?
He asks from his large living room window. He glances back at me.
Oh, those. Yeah, I'm cleaning my guns, just in case.
I stare at the row of automatic rifles that lean up against Mike's couch, then at the 5 pistols on the coffee table that sit close to a disassembled rifle and a cleaning kit.
Not to sound like Courtney, but firearms are prohibited in the complex.
I say to him.
Bullshit.
Mike says.
No apartment covenants can override the Second Amendment, Hoss. I have a right to bear arms, and it's a good thing too. Come look.
I tear my eyes from the guns and skirt the coffee table. When I reach Mike's window, he's pointing to a specific spot down below. Then he grabs a pair of binoculars from a side table and hands them to me.
You see the dumpster on the left there?
He asks.
The one with the Honda Accord parked next to it?
I reply.
No, keep going left.
Mike says.
There's an empty parking space, then a Toyota truck.
I swivel my head until I see the correct dumpster.
Got it.
I say.
What am I looking at?
Just wait.
Mike says.
For what?
I ask.
You'll see it when you see it.
Mike says and crosses his arms over his chest.
Trust me.
I focus in on the dumpster and wait, like Mike said. A minute goes by, then 2, then 3.
I'm not seeing anything.
I say.
Wait means wait, Tom.
Mike says. I sigh and keep looking. Then I see movement coming from under the small space between the dumpster and the pavement. It can't be more than 18 inches of clearance, if that.
You brought me here to look at rats?
I ask, and pull the binoculars away from my eyes to look at Mike.
Those ain't rats,
Mike says, and gestures for me to keep looking. I do.
Holy shit.
I whisper, when I finally see what he wants me to see.
Are those kids? Yeah,
Mike says.
I'm guessing they came from the complex across the street. Take a look.
What am I looking for?
I ask, and adjust my view so I can see the apartment complex across the street up close.
Nothing,
Mike says.
That's the problem. I've been scanning the area all morning long, and that's when I noticed the kids.
Okay, so?
I reply, as I move the binoculars back and forth, trying to see what Mike is worried about.
No one is at their windows,
Mike says.
Not a single resident over there is doing what I have been doing.
Maybe they're all busy,
I say, not believing my own words.
3rd floor down from the top. 6 windows in front from the left,
Mike says. I follow his directions and zero in on the window. Then I gasp and pull the binoculars away.
That's a lot of blood,
I say.
Keep looking,
He says.
Now that you've seen it, you'll see the same in other windows.
I do keep looking, and he's right. About a quarter of the windows have smears of blood on them. Some have entire handprints made in red, covering the glass like someone was trying to smash the glass with their palms.
They were trying to get out,
Mike says, reading my thoughts.
They were so scared, they were willing to break the glass and jump 6 stories to get away from whatever was after them.
Shit,
I say, and hand him back the binoculars.
This shit isn't meningitis, is it?
No,
Mike says, shaking his head.
Marco may be a space cadet stoner kid, but the rumors he heard are right.
That kids are attacking people?
I ask and laugh.
Come on. There's gotta be something else going on.
Mike sighs and holds the binoculars back out to me.
Dumpster,
He says.
keep watching.
I don't take them right away. He sighs again.
Okay, fine.
I say and take the binoculars back. I focus on the dumpster once more. Rows of red-rimmed eyes peer out from under the dumpster. Then one of the kids slides out and runs across the parking lot after something. I lose sight of the kid, but I see 4 more kids scoot out from under the dumpster and give chase too. After a couple of minutes, the group of children returns to my line of sight.
What the fuck?
They're taking care of the stray cat population damn fast.
Mike says.
That's pussy number 6 so far this morning. They're eating it.
I say, and almost drop the binoculars. Mike takes them from my grip before they slip through my fingers.
How secure are those entries and exits?
Mike asks.
Half-assed.
I admit.
They're all locked, but that's it.
There are chains in the basement lockers.
Mike says.
We should chain all of the outside doors.
That's a fire hazard waiting to happen.
I say and hold up my hand to stop his protest.
That's what Courtney will argue.
Mike points down at the gang of toddlers ripping the stray cat to shreds.
Tell her to argue with that.
He says.
Let's go get those chains.
I thought you weren't leaving your apartment.
I say.
I'll sleep a hell of a lot better at night, knowing those little fucks can't get inside our complex.
He says.
I don't disagree.
I say.
The problem will be the kids already inside our complex.
He says. I lower the binoculars and give him a worried look. He waves me off.
Don't worry, Hoss.
He says.
I'm not gonna help round up toddlers. I may not have many lines, but that's one of them.
I'd keep that thought to yourself.
I say.
You know how parents can get.
Yep.
He says. He picks up a pistol, checks the clip, then slaps it back in. He holds the pistol out to me.
I don't do guns.
I say.
And toddlers shouldn't be eating cats.
He says. I take the pistol. He gets one for himself, then leads the way out of his apartment. We are 3 doors into our project when Courtney finally shows up. I knew it was only a matter of time before she sniffed out trouble.
Do I have to even mention all of the fire codes you are breaking right now?
She snaps at me. Then she looks past me to Mike.
And what are you doing, Mr. Stover? You are not on the maintenance committee and should not be performing duties assigned to said committee.
Whatever you say.
Mike says as he hefts a large crate filled with various sizes of chains as well as several padlocks we found in one of the supply lockers in the basement. A ring of keys jingles and jangles from a clip on his belt.
Have you looked outside lately?
I ask Courtney.
Of course I have.
She replies, and I can see from the look on Mike's face that he doesn't believe her any more than I do.
Show her.
Mike says, and gives the crate a shake.
I'll keep locking up.
You will do no such thing.
Courtney says.
Remove the chains from the doors and return them to the supply lockers immediately. You're gonna want to see this.
I say, and nod at Mike. He nods back and hands me a set of chains and a lock. Then he walks off with the crate.
Where are you going, Mr. Stover?
Courtney calls after him.
Mike? Do you hear me? Mike!
She throws her hands up in the air and turns to me.
This is unacceptable!
She shouts. Then she looks at the chains in my hands.
And what do you think you are going to do with those? Shut up and come look,
I say. The stunned look she gives me almost makes me laugh. But the image stuck in my head of the gang of cat-killing toddlers kills the laugh before it can even escape my throat.
Stop looking so offended and follow me,
I say and walk off. After a second, Courtney does follow me. We make our way to the apartment lobby, and I move cautiously to the front doors. I peer outside, but don't see anything, so I move on to a set of floor-to-ceiling windows at the far end of the lobby.
There,
I say, and point at a red mass of flesh and fur over by the lawn with the communal picnic tables.
What is that?
Courtney asks as she moves up next to me.
What am I looking at? Leftovers,
I say.
That used to be a cat until a gang of kids ate it. According to Mike, they've been at it all morning. I was just as disbelieving as you until I saw it with my own eyes. You say kids did that?
She asks, pointing at the mound of dead cats.
I saw them catch and kill a cat in the parking lot by the dumpster around back,
I say.
Mike says they're coming from the apartment complex across the street back there. They're killing and eating the cats, then tossing the remains onto this pile. That's absurd,
Courtney says.
And I do not appreciate you wasting my time like this, Tom. As a chair of the maintenance committee, you should know better. All right,
I say and take a deep breath.
I'll show you.
I walk back to the doors, pull a set of keys out of my back pocket, unlock the doors, and push one open. I take the pistol from my jeans pocket and hold it by my side.
Tom!
Courtney exclaims.
Firearms are not allowed in the complex at all!
I hold the door open wider and lean against it so whatever Courtney says, she can be easily heard outside.
We'll see how you feel about that after this,
I say.
After what?
Courtney cries, her voice getting shriller and shriller with every protest.
Chaining doors, carrying illegal firearms, unacceptable!
There's movement off to the right of the concrete walkway that leads to the lobby. Then there's movement off to the left. I track the movement carefully, timing things as close as I can. Mike and I had tested this before we started chaining the doors. I knew we'd have to give Courtney a demonstration, so I saved the chaining of the lobby doors just for her.
Tom!
Courtney exclaims.
Are you listening to me?
A small screech from outside rips her attention from me to the parking lot. Then there's another screech from the right of the walkway, and her head whips around in that direction. A third screech comes from the left, and her head whips that way. Then a fourth screech from far across the parking lot makes her stare straight out.
Are there children out there?
She asks me. I hear the fear and uncertainty in her voice.
Tom, what is that? Marco wasn't as high as we all thought,
I say. Then I lean out and yell.
Hey, come and get us!
I quickly close and lock the lobby doors. As I'm feeding the chain through the bars, kids stream out of their hiding places and race straight for the entry. Courtney cries out and covers her mouth with her hands as she stumbles backward a few steps. The kids slam into the glass doors just as I get the chain secured and locked. Their bloody little hands and faces press against the glass, leaving smears and streaks of gore behind. I take a couple of steps back and watch as the toddlers throw themselves against the glass over and over, their red-rimmed eyes locked onto the two of us inside. I look over at Courtney, and her mouth is hanging open. She closes it and tries to speak, but nothing comes out except for a frightened squeak.
As chair of the maintenance committee,
I say,
I'm going to need some help boarding up these doors and all the windows so the little fuckers don't bust their way in. They ate the cats?
Courtney asks when she finds her voice again.
Yeah,
I say.
and a couple of dogs too, little ones. But there aren't any cats or dogs around anymore. They all hightailed it the hell out of the area, as far as we can tell.
I wait for that to sink in. Courtney's an overbearing control freak, but she's not stupid. Well, not that stupid.
If they have nothing else to eat out there,
She starts saying.
then they're going to try to get at us in here.
I finish for her.
Yes.
Courtney says.
What?
I ask.
Yes. Your request for more help has been approved.
She says. She leans forward slightly, and I can't tell what she's looking at.
Out there.
She says, and points past the mob of toddlers assaulting the lobby doors.
Do you see them?
I follow her finger and do see them. Several new gangs of toddlers are slowly walking from the street and into our parking lot. None of them should have the speed and coordination that they do. But then, none of them should be feasting on Whiskers or Mr. Mittens either. A row of Humvees come roaring into the parking lot and block our view of the new mobs of toddlers. National Guard, I say just before heavy caliber gunfire erupts outside. Both Courtney and I scream as we dive to the lobby floor. We cover our heads with our hands and try to press ourselves into the tile. The gunfire continues for several minutes before finally falling silent. When I look up, I see soldiers dragging dead toddlers to a huge trailer that the last Humvee is pulling behind it. One of the soldiers looks our way, then breaks off from the group and walks up to our blood-smeared lobby doors. He gestures for me to come closer as I get to my feet.
We have a crew coming in 30 mics,
He says.
They'll board up these doors and your windows.
He points at the floor-to-ceiling windows and shakes his head.
And that's all we can do for you.
He says,
You need to handle the rest of your ground floor windows yourselves, and you'll want to get to it fast.
Thank you, sir.
Courtney shouts as the soldier turns and walks away without waiting for a response from us. We stay there until the Humvees pull away. Our eyes are locked on the pools of blood that flow around and between the residents' cars parked out there.
How many more of those does Mike have?
Courtney asks.
Huh?
I reply as I tear my eyes away from the bloody scene.
Guns!
Courtney says, and I see she's eyeing the pistol I'm still holding.
How many more does he have? A lot.
I say,
Hopefully enough.
Day 6.
Quiet, please!
Courtney cries from her little box on my screen.
Please, please! I need everyone to mute their mics while I make an announcement!
No one does, so the inevitable happens. Everyone goes silent simultaneously as Courtney flexes her administrator's muscles and mutes the whole meeting at once.
Thank you.
She says,
I have word from Colonel Bullman. His unit will be permanently stationed in our parking lot.
People silently argue, then give up when they realize their voices are still muted.
Colonel Bullman has assured me that the National Guard will remain outside of our complex and that we will still have complete autonomy.
Courtney continues. Shit, that doesn't sound good. If the soldiers have to tell us we'll still have autonomy, then that means they're thinking of taking that autonomy at some point, otherwise they wouldn't have brought it up. The Lighton lawyer guy pretty much states the same thing in the chat, except his wording is way more dickish and sounds self-serving. Or that's my interpretation, at least.
Yes, Mr. Lighton, I see your protest.
Courtney says.
However, may I remind everyone that we are living under martial law. Civil rights have been suspended while we deal with this emergency. This is for our own good.
Mike raises his hand.
Yes, Mr. Stover?
Courtney asks.
You're off mute, so please behave.
How will this affect my militia?
Mike asks. Several people roll their eyes. Some cross their arms over their chests and stare angrily at their cameras.
Security detail.
Courtney corrects him.
Whatever you want to call it.
Mike says and shrugs.
The people using my guns. How will having the feds in our parking lot affect my God-given right to bear arms as part of a well-regulated militia?
Security detail.
Courtney insists. Several people type in the chat the same thing about how what Mike said is actually the wording in the Second Amendment.
Thank you, everyone, for this civics lesson.
Courtney says. And if sarcasm could break glass, every window in the complex would have just shattered.
Colonel Bullman has assured me that the National Guard will remain outside of our complex and that we will still have complete autonomy. I do not know how to word it differently for you.
Why us?
Mike asks.
Why here?
I don't understand your question.
Courtney says. Denise Wilmington raises her hand. Courtney unmutes her.
Location.
Denise says.
Our complex is at the apex of 2 main highways, 3 main city arteries, and is the last apartment complex on this row. It's easier to defend from multiple directions if needed.
That gets everyone's attention. Stunned and scared faces stare out of my screen. No one messages anything for a while until someone types, "What about our cars?" Courtney looks confused as she reads the message. Then she looks differently into the camera, looking even more confused. Then she reads the message again. My phone chimes.
Did we finally break the crazy bitch?
Mike texts me. I don't think she can break, I text back.
Cars.
Courtney finally says.
Our cars.
Then it hits me. Courtney and her car. She had just bought a brand new Tesla after she convinced the Tenants Association board to install 4 charging stations in the parking lot. She loves that car more than she loves any human being, including herself.
I don't...
She stammers some more, then clears her throat.
Yes, well, I did not discuss that aspect with Colonel Bullman. I will be sure to do that immediately.
Mr. Foreman raises his hand.
Yes, Mr. Foreman?
Courtney asks, as the little microphone icon on the corner of his screen goes from crossed out to wide open.
I have 4 volunteers for neighbor checks,
He says.
but I could use a few more.
How many do you need?
Courtney asks.
Just enough to get us to an even dozen.
Mr. Foreman says.
So 8 more.
I'll put out the call to the residents.
Courtney says.
If no one volunteers, then we can just assign people to your group.
A stream of protests fills the chat.
People!
Courtney shouts even though there are no voices to shout over.
This is difficult for everyone, but we all have to do our part.
That just makes things worse. My phone chimes again, but when I look down at it, I don't recognize the number. This is Melissa Holliday in apartment 852, the text reads. The nurse with the twins. Oh, right, I text back. Are you okay? I am, but the toilet isn't, she says. Mike Stover gave me your number since you're in charge of maintenance. I want to text her that I am not in charge of maintenance, not even remotely. But she's a widow with twins, and I'm not a total jerk.
Tom,
Courtney calls out.
I asked you a question. Is something on your phone more important than the safety and security of the residents?
I hold up my phone.
Dealing with a maintenance issue.
I say, and instantly regret it. The chat streams with maintenance requests. Courtney smiles wide as message after message fills the chat.
Well, I was about to ask if there are any maintenance issues you want to report.
She says.
But I can see you are already handling it. Thank you, Tom.
No.
I say and shake my head.
No fucking way. No fucking way.
I'm sorry, Tom, but our meeting time is up.
Courtney says, making sure my mic is muted as I shout obscenities at her.
I'll leave the chat open so you can see all of the maintenance requests.
Then one by one, the squares begin to drop out until the only people left are me and Courtney. She unmutes my mic.
Your noble efforts won't be forgotten, Tom.
Courtney says.
I'll be sure that Colonel Bullman knows exactly who you are and what you have contributed to the greater good.
You and Colonel Bullman can go fuck off.
I start to say just before her square goes dark. The bitch hung up on me on Google Meets. But she left the chat open, so I sit and fume as I watch requests for apartment fixes fill up my screen. I'll be there soon, I text to Melissa. Then I get up, go to my couch, pick up a pillow, shove my face in it, and scream until I'm hoarse. When Melissa opens the door, I have to suppress a smile as I raise my eyebrows.
Looks like it's been a morning for you.
I say as she holds up one twin on her hip while the other grips the back of her legs and stares up at me. Her t-shirt is soaked all the way through, and her sweatpants are hanging halfway down her hips.
Here,
She says, and hands me the twin in her arms. I take the kid because the alternative would be to drop it. I mimic what Melissa did and set the kid on my hip. I think it's the girl, but I'm not totally sure. Melissa hikes up her sweats, then scoots up the twin at her feet and walks away. I step inside, close the apartment door, and follow her while the kid in my arms decides that my right ear would be the perfect chew toy.
I'm gonna apologize once for the mess, then we won't speak of it again, okay?
Melissa says, leading me through her bedroom to the bathroom. She frowns and shakes her head.
Sorry.
I lean past her and take a look. Shit water is everywhere,
Yeah, that's no fun.
I say.
You have a mop? Me?
She asks.
You're the maintenance guy. No, I'm the sucker that got roped into being temporary maintenance committee chair.
I say.
I don't know shit about it.
I point at the mess with my free hand while the twin keeps chewing on my ear.
Well, shit. So you can't fix this?
She asks.
I don't know what's wrong.
I say.
Did you try plunging it? I don't have a plunger.
She says.
That looks like your first problem.
I say.
Your second problem is getting all of this cleaned up. You're gonna need a babysitter and a lot of towels.
I look around her bedroom.
What do you need?
she asks.
Somewhere to set it down.
I say and jiggle the kid in my arms. It giggles around my ear.
It?
Melissa asks, smirks.
Kids aren't your thing, I see.
I shrug, and the twin giggles again.
She likes you.
Melissa says as she sets her twin down in a play crib in the corner of her bedroom. Then she comes back and takes the other twin from me.
Now what?
I fish out my phone and start typing.
I just texted Courtney that I need someone to babysit.
I say. My phone chimes, and I glare at the return message. No, not for my fucking turtle, I type. For Melissa's twins, while she and I clean up her bathroom and I try to fix her toilet. There's a long pause, then the ellipses start rolling. The nurse? Courtney texts. Yes, the nurse, I text back. Who can you get up here? As a professional, she should be able to handle 2 children by herself, Courtney responds.
Who are you texting?
Melissa asks.
Courtney,
I say.
She doesn't like you much. What did I do to her?
Melissa snaps.
You represent capability,
I say.
which she takes as making her look incapable. That doesn't make sense.
Melissa responds.
That's Courtney.
I say, then text to Courtney.
Do you want me to be in charge of maintenance or not? Think your answer through.
A longer pause, then the ellipses dance. I'll find someone, she texts. And have them bring extra towels, I text. Do not overstep, Tom, she texts back. I wait, but no ellipses begin to wiggle. Courtney has left the conversation.
You got crap towels I can use to get this cleaned up?
I ask, regretting every word of that sentence.
I have some,
Melissa says.
in the closet out in the hallway.
One of the twins lets out a pained howl. We both turn our heads to see a twin with a fistful of the other's hair in its mouth.
You deal with that, and I'll get the towels.
I say.
Thank you.
Melissa replies and hurries over to her twins. By the time the doorbell rings, I have a good amount of the shit water corralled inside several ratty old towels. I hear voices at the door, then in seconds, a large woman shows up at the bathroom door with towels in her arms.
Oh, that happens to me all the time,
The woman says.
I have IBS.
Mrs. Grumman,
I didn't know that, Mrs. Grumman.
I say.
You can set the towels down there.
She lets them just fall out of her arms and onto the floor.
Or do that.
I say.
Thanks for the help.
Melissa says, and squeezes past her. She bends down and picks up a couple of towels.
The twins are in their playpen, but I think they are both about to fall asleep. It's close to nap time. I'll just sit on the edge of your bed and watch the little angels drift off into slumber time,
Mrs. Grumman says and walks away. Melissa rolls up the legs of her sweats, gives me a grateful yet apologetic smile, and gets to work mopping up shit water. By the time I get back to my apartment, I've unclogged 6 toilets, helped a woman named Liza or Lisa or Lisa or something get her chihuahua out from behind her stove, stopped 2 faucets from dripping, and got Marco's ice maker working again. There was a popsicle stuck in the automatic fill arm because, well, it's Marco. I strip naked and throw my nasty clothes into the corner of the bathroom as I turn the water on to high heat and wait for the steam to begin. Just as I step into the shower, my phone chimes.
Tough shit!
I yell from under the scorching steam of heaven. My phone chimes again. I soap up and ignore it. It chimes again, then again, then again. Then it starts to ring.
Not happening!
I yell at my phone. Then the entire complex shakes as a massive explosion rocks the building. Gunfire erupts outside, and I'm out of the shower in an instant, soapy water dripping off my body. I don't even bother to towel off as I grab my phone from the sink.
What the fuck?
I yell as I answer the call.
It's a fucking toddler tsunami!
Mike screams in my ear.
The guard is being overrun!
Shit!
I yell.
What are they gonna do?
They want in!
Mike yells.
And you have the keys to the locks! That colonel guy says we have 1 minute to open the doors and let them in, or he's breaking the doors down!
Fuck!
I say and hang up. I find a pair of jeans and slide them on over my soapy, wet legs, which is close to an impossible task. I find a t-shirt from the floor and throw that on as I grab the keys off my dresser and race out of my apartment. Courtney is down in the lobby by the time I get there.
There you are!
She shouts and points at the chained lobby doors.
Get that open now!
I can see that the soldiers have removed the boards from the door. A group of them are standing outside with clubs, ready to break the glass. I raise my hands at them in the universal gesture of hold the fuck on, and then jingle the keys a few times so they get the hint. Once the chains are off the doors and I unlock them, soldiers burst into the lobby.
Covering fire!
Colonel Bullman shouts as he makes his way to me. He holds out a hand. I look down at the hand, then slap him 5.
No, motherfucker!
He snarls at me.
The keys! Don't do it!
Mike says. I look back and see him standing in front of his security detail or militia or whatever. They all have rifles held across their bodies, but I can see the tension in Mike's arms, and I know shit is about to get real.
The keys, Mr. Quinton.
Colonel Bullman snaps at me.
That is not a request. You give him those keys, Tom, and it's all over for us.
Mike says.
I will have the keys.
Bullman says, then focuses his eyes on Mike.
And your weapons. Martial law is in effect. None of you have a choice in this matter. According to the capacity of this AR-15, I have 30 choices in this matter,
Mike says.
as do each of my men.
Bullman responds.
I count 7 members of your little gun club. I have 49 behind me. How's your math, son?
Mike,
I warn.
you don't have this.
Oh, I have this.
Mike says.
No, you don't.
I say.
Chill out and take a few steps back.
Gunfire echoes in the night, and a soldier runs up to Colonel Bullman.
Sir, we have them held back for now.
The soldier reports.
But we will only be able to keep them back for another half hour at the most, sir.
Bullman points at Mike.
You can be a help or an impediment. I have no patience or tolerance for impediments. Your call.
Mike,
I warn again. He glares at the colonel, then looks at me. I raise my eyebrows as high as they can go. He shakes his head but finally nods.
Stand down,
He says to his security group militia.
and surrender your weapons.
Colonel Bullman says.
Civilians with firearms are more of a danger to themselves and others than they are a help to us. Corporal?
The soldier that had run up to report to the colonel looks taken aback. Then he sighs and steps to Mike.
Please lay down your weapons.
He says.
I'll have someone take an inventory and give you a receipt. No fucking time for that.
Bullman shouts.
Put the weapons down and return to your apartments now.
He turns to Courtney.
Miss Hubbard, I am here to inform you that all residents of this apartment complex are now under my authority.
He states.
you mean under the authority of the National Guard?
Courtney says.
We are all that's left of the National Guard in this area, Miss Hubbard.
Colonel Bullman replies.
So everything is under my authority.
He grins at Courtney.
It's for your own good.
Day 17. Melissa holds the washcloth to Mike's brow and smirks as he hisses in pain.
Pussy.
I say to him.
Suck it, Tom.
He responds.
What were you thinking?
Melissa asks.
Picking fights with trained soldiers is a bad idea, Mike. There's no other way of looking at it.
The fuckers wanted to search my apartment without cause.
Mike protests.
Did they find your weapon stash?
I ask.
No,
Mike says.
They found my weapons cache, Tom. It's called a cache, not a stash. Same thing.
I say and shrug. I watch the twins giggle and babble and play with the multicolored rings and blocks Melissa set in their playpen. They'd be unbelievably cute if I wasn't terrified of them. So far, all day and all night, the apartment complex has been under siege by kids just a little older than Melissa's twins. Mike hisses again, and I turn my attention back to his whining. Melissa is giving me a cold stare.
They're fine.
She says to me. Mike looks from me to Melissa, to the twins, then back to me.
I've been thinking the same thing.
Mike says to me.
But I talked to one of the medics, and she said that none of the children in the complex are going feral and trying to eat anyone.
Is that what they're calling it?
Melissa asks, as she stands and starts picking up the medical supplies she'd gotten out for Mike.
Feral.
Mike shrugs and gasps. Melissa stops cleaning up the gauze and isopropyl alcohol.
What's wrong with your shoulder?
She asks.
I'm good,
Mike says.
Take your shirt off.
Melissa says.
I thought you'd never ask.
Mike says with a grin.
Fuck you!
Melissa says and smacks Mike's right shoulder. He cries out and almost falls out of his chair.
What the fuck, Mike?
I say. Melissa grabs a pair of scissors and frowns down at Mike.
I knew you did something to that shoulder by the way you've been favoring that side.
She says.
Hold still while I cut off your shirt.
But I love this shirt.
Mike protests.
Okay, tough guy. Then pull it up over your head by yourself.
Melissa says and takes a step back. She twirls the scissors around a finger.
Come on, do it.
Mike tries but fails spectacularly. He has actual tears welling up in his eyes by the time Melissa tells him to knock it off. She cuts his shirt off, then shakes her head at the sight.
Is it bad?
Mike asks.
Your shoulder is more purple than that plushy dinosaur Emmett won't let go of.
I say and hook a thumb over at the twins. I finally learned their names, Emmett and Emma, because they're twins.
Jesus, it's dislocated.
Melissa says.
I'm having a talk with Colonel Bullman after this. As a nurse, I cannot allow his soldiers to abuse the tenants.
Melissa gently places one hand just behind Mike's shoulder and the other right above his elbow.
Oh, he knows.
Mike says.
He was standing right there watching. Holy fucking God!
All fixed.
Melissa says as Mike takes several deep breaths, his eyes locked onto her.
That was not cool,
he says.
But it did the trick.
Melissa says.
Tom, can you get the poor baby back to his apartment?
I can get there by myself.
Mike says.
Without starting another fight?
I ask.
I make no fucking promises.
Mike says.
Yeah, I'll get him back to his apartment.
I say.
I'll be right back.
Melissa smiles at me and nods. Mike looks back and forth between us, but keeps his lips shut. Once we're out in the hallway, though.
I'll be right back.
Mike asks.
How's the shoulder?
It hurts like hell.
He says.
You want it to hurt worse?
I say.
Fine, fine. I'll let it go,
He says.
But,
No buts.
I say.
but,
He continues as we walk toward the elevator.
I just want to say that you could do way worse. Melissa is a fine looking woman.
I'm helping her with the twins.
I say.
Sure you are.
Mike says.
The twins on her chest, maybe.
Fucker.
I say as we reach the elevator. There's a soldier standing there with an M4 carbine at the ready.
Floor?
He asks.
16.
I say.
And you?
The soldier asks Mike.
16.
Mike says.
One of your little bitch friends fucked up my shoulder, so Tom is being kind enough to help me back to my apartment. You don't live on 16?
The soldier asks me.
No, I live on 17.
I say.
Just helping a friend out.
Hold.
He says and thumbs his radio.
2 for 16. 1 resident, 1 visitor.
2 for 16.
A voice responds. The soldier steps aside and presses the elevator call button. In seconds, it arrives, and he waves us in. Before I can press the button, he leans in and presses the number 16.
Elevators are monitored, so there is no unauthorized access to residential floors.
The soldier says.
It's for your own good.
I bet it is.
I say. The doors close, and Mike and I look at each other, but don't say a thing. After I get him settled in his apartment, I do the dance all over again with the soldier stationed at the elevators on his floor. But this one recognizes me and lets me get back to Melissa's floor. The soldier there is not happy to see me again, but I don't give a shit. When Melissa opens the door, she has 2 glasses of wine in her hands.
Where the fuck have you been hiding this?
I ask, as I take a glass and hurry inside.
Mike had his stash of guns. I have my stash of wine.
She says, and closes, then locks the door behind me. I am about to say something bold, but my words are cut off by automatic gunfire. We share a look, then turn off all of the lights and go to her living room windows so we can see what the hell is happening down below now. Against floodlights, we see the tiny silhouettes of 1,000 toddlers, all rushing toward the barricades the soldiers have set up throughout the complex's parking lot.
There are so many,
Melissa says.
more every day.
I say. We watch until the gunfire stops. It doesn't matter how regular it has become. I won't ever get used to the sight of soldiers mowing down little kids with machine guns. Melissa turns her back to the window, then walks to the couch and sits down. I follow after closing her drapes. We sit in silence until the gunfire stops. Then Melissa begins to sob. I take her glass and set mine down on the coffee table with it. She collapses against my chest, and I let her cry as tears well up in my own eyes. After a few minutes, her crying stops. She stands up, takes my hand, and leads me to the bedroom. Day 62. I jolt awake.
What is it?
Melissa asks as she rolls over next to me.
I don't know.
I say. The noise comes again, hard and sharp. Someone is pounding a fist against the apartment door.
They're going to wake the twins.
Melissa hisses and gives me a shove.
See who it is. I'll check on the twins.
I slide out of her bed and pull my jeans on, then sprint to the apartment door. I can see Mike through the peephole, so I unlock the door and throw it open.
The kids are asleep.
I snarl at him. Then I see he's holding a rifle.
Where the hell did you get that?
I ask.
Shut the fuck up and listen.
He says, and pushes past me into the apartment.
Get Melissa. Get the twins. Pack some bags. We're leaving. Now.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I snap as I rub the sleep from my eyes.
They're taking all the kids.
Mike says. My blood runs cold.
What?
Melissa asks from the kids' bedroom doorway. She closes it quietly behind her.
What do you mean they're taking the kids?
Colonel Fuckface has ordered that all kids under the age of 8 are to be rounded up and housed in the common room.
Mike says.
People are losing their shit.
Yeah, you think?
I say.
Where's my shirt?
I rush back into the bedroom, find my shirt, pull it on, then come back to the living room. I point at Mike's rifle.
Where were you hiding that?
I ask.
Doesn't matter.
He says.
What matters is we get you all the fuck out of here before the Gestapo shows up.
Where'll we go?
Melissa cries. I can tell she's desperately trying to keep her voice down, but the panic is rising with every word.
We can't go outside, Mike.
We can.
Mike says.
I've been studying their schedule. We can steal a Humvee in about 5 minutes, but we have to go now.
This is crazy.
Melissa says.
We'll die out there.
What do you think Colonel Psychopants is going to do to your kids?
Mike asks.
Tell them nursery rhymes? Fuck no. He's going to keep them in the room until everyone calms down and gets used to it. Then he'll either toss the kids outside or kill them in there.
But none of the children have shown signs of changing.
Melissa says.
We closed off the complex in time, right?
She looks at me, her eyes wide with terror.
Right, Tom?
She pleads.
Makes sense.
I say.
Otherwise, the kids would have already gone feral like the others.
The Colonel doesn't fucking care.
Mike says.
Come on, pack a bag. We have to go.
I nod to Melissa.
Do it. We don't have a choice.
In seconds, we're hurrying around the place, grabbing anything and everything we think we may need. Then with Emma in my arms and Emmett in Melissa's, Mike leads us to the front door. My heart falls into my stomach when Mike yanks the door open.
Secure that firearm, Corporal.
Colonel Bullman says from the hallway.
Like the fuck you will.
Mike yells and starts to bring his rifle up.
No!
I scream and grab Melissa's arm. I pull us down to the hallway carpet and throw myself over Melissa and the twins as gunfire thunders around us. Wetness hits the back of my head, then there's a heavy weight across my legs. After a couple of seconds, I push up from Melissa and the twins and look over my shoulder. The kids are screaming and crying, and I feel like I want to do the same. Mike's body is draped across my calves, half of his head missing.
Cover their eyes,
I say to Melissa as I struggle to get from under Mike's corpse without crushing her or the twins. When I'm finally free, I put myself between the soldiers and Melissa and the twins.
You fucking killed Mike!
I shout.
He drew an unauthorized weapon on military personnel.
Colonel Bullman says.
He brought it on himself.
He gestures to his soldiers, but I brace myself in the doorway.
Don't even think about it.
I say.
You touch those kids, and I'll fucking pick that rifle up and put a bullet between your fucking eyes.
Colonel Bullman sighs, then shakes his head.
Take him,
he says, and before I can react, I have hands pulling me out of the apartment and throwing me to the hallway floor. Melissa is screaming. The twins are crying. And there's nothing I can do about it as a boot is placed on the back of my head and my face is forced into the dirty hallway carpet. I wriggle some, then freeze when the boot is replaced by the cold steel of a rifle barrel. With my face in the carpet, I can only hear Melissa pleading for the colonel to stop. Then I hear her shriek and fight as the twins are taken from her. Despite the gun barrel to my head, I fight to get free. Then it all goes dark. When I wake up, I'm still lying in the hallway. The assholes didn't even move me inside the apartment. They just left me on the carpet, unconscious. The second I turn my head, I throw up. I've heard it's a symptom of a concussion. I never thought I'd have one. It takes me a few minutes before I have the strength and equilibrium to push up onto my hands and knees. Then it's a few more minutes before I can grab the open door frame of Melissa's apartment and haul myself up onto my feet. My eyes are instantly drawn to the massive bloodstain on the carpet. The body is gone, but the blood reminds me of everything that had happened. They fucking killed Mike.
Mel?
I call out once I'm able to find my voice. No answer.
Mel?
I call again as I stumble my way into the apartment. It doesn't take me long to see she's not in the apartment. Neither are the twins. The assholes really did take them. Slowly, I stagger my way to the elevator. The soldier standing there sneers at me.
Floor 17,
He says and presses the call button.
I'm going to the common room,
I say. His sneer turns to a smug grin.
You're going to your apartment on floor 17,
The soldier says when the elevator doors slide apart.
Colonel's orders. I'm not a soldier,
I say.
I don't take his orders. Fine by me.
The soldier says and aims his M4 at my chest.
I'm happy to fulfill my other orders, you privileged piece of shit. You won't shoot me.
I say.
I will, and I'll be happy about it.
The soldier says.
You make the call, asshole. Fuck you.
I say, then take a deep breath and let it out slowly. I can't help Melissa if I'm dead.
Floor 17. Good boy,
The soldier says. He moves aside, allows me into the elevator car, then leans in and presses button 17.
Stay in your apartment.
He warns.
It's for your own good.
The elevator doors close before I can say anything to him. Not that I have anything to say. Words may be mightier than the sword, but they aren't mightier than a fully loaded M4 carbine. The ride to my floor is excruciating, and even during those couple of minutes, I have to fight not to pass out again. Concussions suck. When the elevator doors open, I gasp. More bloodstains, all up and down the hallway. I stumble to my apartment, unlock the door, and slip inside. I have to rest for a few seconds before I am able to make my way to my living room. The place is trashed. It looks like a hurricane has gone through it. Bullman must have had his people search my apartment for guns or whatever. After Mike showed them he was still packing, I bet they've gone door to door looking for firearms. Mike. Fuck. They fucking cut him down right there in front of us. Before I sit down, I make my way to my bedroom and peek inside. Boris's aquarium is still intact, and I can see him sunning himself under his heat lamp. At least they didn't kill my turtle. That thought makes me laugh, and I don't stop laughing for a solid 10 minutes straight. Once the laughing turns to crying, though, I stumble to the couch and collapse across the cushions. My phone chimes. I am sorry about Mike, Courtney texts. I didn't know they would shoot anyone. Bullshit is my first thought considering the bloodstains out in my hallway. Where's Melissa? I text back. It's hard to focus my eyes on the little letters. I cannot divulge information like that, Courtney responds. What the fuck does that mean? I text. Fucking tell me where she is. There is a long pause. The ellipses show up more than a few times, and then go away again just as quickly. Finally, a text comes through. All of those who resisted are being held in the basement, Courtney says. I have to go. I don't even bother to argue with her to tell me more. I know Courtney. She was pretty fucking bad before all this. Now she's officially Bullman's bitch, which makes her even worse. But I know where Melissa is now. The basement. And the twins are in the common room. Or that's what Mike said was happening to them. I need to figure out how to get her and the twins free. But first, I have to sit down. My head is killing me, and I'm not sure if... Day 63. When I come to, the sun coming in through my apartment windows is all wrong. It looks like dawn all over again. Then I realize I'm lying on the carpet in the middle of my living room. Fuck, I passed out again. It must be the next day. I slowly get to my feet and make my way to the bathroom. I take care of things, which includes carefully washing the gash on the back of my head. Then I get dressed and just stand there for a few minutes. My phone chimes.
I'm coming to get you,
A text reads. It's from Mr. Foreman, the retired cop.
I know what happened to Mike. It's going to happen to all the parents too.
What the fuck does that mean? I text back.
Hold tight,
He replies. I am already holding tight, so it doesn't take much effort to wait for him to arrive. When he knocks at my apartment door, I open it quickly and hurry him inside.
Pullman has deemed the parents as a threat to the general safety of the complex,
Mr. Foreman says.
He's executing them today.
I wobble on my feet and he catches me.
You good?
He asks.
No, I'm not fucking good.
I say.
He's going to kill Mel. Then he'll kill the kids, right?
Mr. Foreman looks away from me. He swallows hard.
What?
I ask. He refuses to look at me.
Oh God, no. You're sure?
I ask as I look up at him.
Yes,
He says.
he hasn't told anyone officially, but we heard the guns last night. They were shooting down there for 10 minutes straight. Fucking hell!
I say and choke back a sob.
The twins! Get up and come with me,
Mr. Foreman says.
we aren't the only ones.
I give him my hand and he helps me up onto my feet. After a second or two, to make sure I don't pass out, we walk out of my apartment and I have to do a double take. There are several residents standing in the hallway, and I can see the elevator doors wide open down at the end. The soldier guarding the elevators is nowhere to be seen.
I took care of him,
Mr. Foreman says.
same with several others.
He gives me a sly, wicked grin.
Sometimes it helps to be old and taken for granted. Not one of those bastards saw me coming. What now?
I ask.
Now we take back our complex.
Mr. Foreman says.
Come on.
Those of us who can fit in the elevator hop in, while the remainder head for the stairs. We ride down to the second floor and get off there. Mr. Foreman leads me to the stairwell.
Holy shit!
I say when we open the door and step onto the landing. All up and down the stairs, residents wait quietly. When they see Mr. Foreman, they move aside and let us walk down the stairs to the first floor.
We're gonna fuck the assholes up.
Marco says to me as I pass him. I just nod and give him a thumbs up as we get to the door.
This is going to be rough,
Mr. Foreman says.
Follow my lead.
He opens the door. The gunshot is deafening. Mr. Foreman's body falls to my feet as I'm yanked out of the stairwell and into the complex's lobby.
You came close,
Colonel Bullman says as he steps up to me.
but your timing was off by a few minutes. When the sentries didn't report in, we were prepared.
He makes a gesture to the soldiers holding me, and they drag me further out into the lobby, while several others stand guard in front of the stairwell door.
It is too bad that you people refuse to do what's best for yourselves.
Bullman says.
This complex is secure. We have held the little fuckers back for months now. We still have supplies. There's still power and water. And all you had to do was wait out this nightmare until the government reestablishes control.
When was the last time you spoke to anyone above you?
I ask. The colonel turns away from me.
That's what I thought.
I say.
There is no government anymore, is there?
There are fail-safes in place.
Bullman says.
Bullshit.
I reply.
There's nothing in place.
My eyes stray to the common room doors. I see bloody boot prints leading to and from.
And I sure as fuck don't feel secure in a complex where psycho fuckers like you get to murder at your whim.
I snarl at him.
Tom,
Courtney says as she comes out from behind a small squad of soldiers.
you are being unreasonable. Those children would have turned at some point, which would be putting all of our lives at risk. Sometimes you have to sacrifice a few to save the many. Fuck you, bitch!
I shout at her. A rifle butt slams into my stomach and I double over.
Keep him secure.
Bullman says to the soldiers holding me.
We'll decide what to do with him when this is all over.
You're a fucking monster!
I gasp as I try to get my breath back.
That very well may be,
He says.
but sometimes monsters are what we need.
He points to a couple of soldiers by the stairwell door. They nod and yank open the door. Then soldiers pour in, shouting at the residents to move away and get back up the stairs. When the gunfire starts, I scream. My screams mix with the screams of the residents being butchered in the stairwell. I pray some escape up to the higher floors. What happens after that? I don't know. What I do know is Bullman doesn't get to win this. My ears are ringing from the rifle fire. Bullman turns to me and smiles.
This is how it is now.
He says,
Get right with it, or join the others in the basement. You aren't technically a parent, but close enough to be dangerous. Your choice, Mr. Quentin.
Fuck you!
I say. Bullman nods, then cocks his head at the soldiers holding me.
Bring him with.
He orders.
A clean sweep is the only way to maintain order now.
You brought this on yourself.
Courtney says to me.
Bring her too.
Bullman says.
What?
Courtney exclaims.
Me? I've been nothing but cooperative.
How can I trust someone like you?
Bullman asks rhetorically.
A person who betrays her own neighbors in a time of crisis is not someone I want around me. It would be only a matter of time before you betrayed me as well.
No, I wouldn't.
Courtney shouts.
I'm loyal.
But to who?
Bullman asks as he gets up close and leans down in Courtney's face.
To me? No. To this complex? No. To yourself?
He straightens up and snaps his fingers.
Get this bitch out of my sight.
He orders and walks away. One thing I have never done while living here is underestimate Courtney. I've clocked exactly what type of person she is since day one.
You fucking asshole.
Courtney snarls at Bullman's back as he walks away from her.
You fucking asshole.
She yanks free from one of the soldiers, grabs his pistol off his hip, takes aim and squeezes the trigger. The gun doesn't fire.
Not my first occupation.
Bullman says without looking back.
All sidearms are left on safety for just this very reason.
He finally turns and looks at her. He scoffs and shakes his head.
Civilians.
He says, still shaking his head.
What is the point of any of you?
Courtney is grabbed and slammed to the floor. A soldier places a rifle barrel to the back of her head. Bullman nods. The trigger is squeezed. Courtney's head turns to bony bits and bloody mist. I throw up. Well, I dry heave. I've got nothing left in my stomach anymore to throw up.
Goodbye, Mr. Quentin.
Bullman says to me and walks off toward the elevators. The soldiers drag me toward the door leading to the basement. I don't resist. There's no need. It's all over. Except for one last part. I go limp in the soldier's arms.
Stand the fuck up, motherfucker!
A soldier snaps at me as he yanks my arm.
Get on your...
He stops talking because he's surprised at how fast I move. The sudden movement kills my head, but that won't matter in a couple of seconds. My hands find the grenades amongst the soldier's gear. I pull them free, shove the rings in my mouth, and bite down. Then I pull the rings free, flip the catches, and toss the grenades toward the front doors and the barricades.
No!
A soldier shouts just before the grenades go off. I fly back against the wall from the explosions and the storm of debris that assaults me. I don't know if I pass out again or not, but when I'm able to think again, I realize two things. The first is, I have a 2-foot piece of rebar sticking out of my guts. The second is the barricade, and the front doors behind it are obliterated. The soldiers, not knocked down by the blasts, race to the huge opening in the lobby and open fire. I watch them fight as I take hold of the rebar and try to pull it from my abdomen. It's stuck tight. Not that it matters. I'm bleeding out. I can tell I'll be dead in a matter of minutes, maybe seconds. And there isn't anywhere to go after all this anyway. One by one, the rifles stop firing and the screams begin. As my life bleeds out of my belly, I watch as small figures pour into the lobby, overwhelming everyone in their path. Convulsions shake my broken body as the last bit of life left in me drains away. But I catch one final image before I'm gone. The image of Colonel Bullman being crushed and shredded under a pile of feral children. I smile the last smile of my life and say,
It's for your own good, asshole.
thanks for listening. If you enjoy these stories, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and check out some more of my episodes here.